that with the grace of the Almighty, this program will become successful, will become beneficial to all the participants and our students. I would like to request Tamim Sultana, our dear student Tamim Sultana, to come on the stage and to give a musical test flavor to this program. Let us add an inaugural song to this program. I would like to request Tamim Sultana. Hello. Thank you, Tamim. Tamim is already well reputed in our college to be a good manifest singer. Today again we got the opportunity to thank her. Now I would like to request our principal sir to deliver a welcome speech. Principal Dr. Gautam Kumar Ghosh and also the patron of this seminar.
শুভ মধ্যাহ্ন। আমি সকলকে আন্তরিক অভিনন্দন জানানোর আগে সবার আগে ধন্যবাদ জানাবো আমাদের কলেজের ছাত্রী তামিম সুলতানাকে। ও আমাদের ইংলিশ ডিপার্টমেন্টের প্রথম বর্ষের ছাত্রী এবং আমাদের প্রত্যেকটি প্রোগ্রামের আগে একটি সুন্দর সঙ্গীত পরিবেশন করে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠানের সূচনাটা খুব সমৃদ্ধ করে তোলে। ওর আরেকটা পরিচয় হচ্ছে আমাদের কলেজের যিনি প্রেসিডেন্ট, গভর্নিং বডির সভাপতি আমাদের মঞ্চে রয়েছেন হাতেবুল ইসলাম মহাশয়ের নাতনি, সেটাও আমাদের আরেকটি সৌভাগ্য। যাই হোক, ওনাকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ। এবার আমি আমার কলেজের পক্ষ থেকে আজকে যে বিশিষ্ট জনেরা তাদের অমূল্য সময় আমাদের কলেজকে দিচ্ছেন অনেক ব্যস্ততার মধ্যেও, তাই তাদেরকে আমাদের কলেজের তরফ থেকে আন্তরিক অভিনন্দন, ধন্যবাদ এবং সর্বোপরি কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাই। শুধু কুষ্টিয়া থেকে আমাদের মধ্যে উপস্থিত হয়েছেন আমাদের ডক্টর মিজানুর রহমান মহাশয় এবং আমাদের ভারতবর্ষের অন্যতম একটি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়, যেটা কলকাতা বা যাদবপুরের বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় থেকেও আমরা অনেক সময় এগিয়ে রাখি, সেই প্রেসিডেন্সি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের অন্যতম অধ্যাপক ডক্টর নজরুল ইসলাম মহাশয়কে আমার তরফ থেকে তথা আমার কলেজের তরফ থেকে আন্তরিক কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাই এবং ধন্যবাদ জানাই। আজকে যে সেমিনার, যে বিষয়ে এখানে আয়োজন করা হয়েছে, ডায়াসপোরা of literature, Exclamation for the crisis of space and identity. সবার কাছে আমাদের যেন একটা খুব ক্রিটিক্যাল একটা জিনিসটা আমাদের বুঝতে হয়তো একটুখানি ভয়বট লাগছে। এই ব্যাপারটা নিয়ে আমারও কোনো দুঃসাহসিকতা নেই যে আমি দু একটি কথা বলবো, কারণ এই বিষয়টি আমারও খুব বেশি জানা নেই। কিন্তু একটা জিনিস আমি অন্তপক্ষে এই টপিকটার উপরে ফিল করেছি যে আমরা বিভিন্ন সময় বিভিন্ন ক্রাইসিসে ভুগছি এবং সেই ক্রাইসিস থেকে আমাদের মধ্যে একটা খুব বিস্ময় বা অবাক যে আমরা কোন জায়গায় পৌঁছাবো। আমরা হয়তো কিছুদিন পর আমাদের আইডেন্টিটি ক্রাইসিসেও ভুগতে পারি। সেই বিষয়বোধ থেকেই বোধহয় যে ডায়াসপোরা লিটারেচার এটা কি, এটা ওনারা বিশেষজ্ঞরা এসছেন, তারাই বলবেন। আমি সেই বিষয়ে যেহেতু জানি না, আমি অকপটে স্বীকার করি, তা আমার কোনো দ্বিধা নেই, আমি বিজ্ঞ নই। কাজে তারাই বলবেন, তাদের অমূল্য সময়টা আমি নষ্ট করব না। শুধু এরকম একটি টপিক যে আমাদের গ্রামের কলেজে সকলের সামনে তুলে ধরার জন্য যে ডিপার্টমেন্ট তথা আইপিএসসি ডিপার্টমেন্ট এবং আইপিএসসি এরকম একটি আয়োজন করেছে এবং গ্রামের বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ে নিয়ে এসেছেন, সকলেরকে আমার তরফ থেকে তথা কলেজের তরফ থেকে ধন্যবাদ কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাই। সেই সঙ্গে আমাদের কলেজের সমাজে সকলের সামনে যারা সকলে মিলে আজকে এই আলোচনা সভার আয়োজন করেছে এবং আলোচনা সভাকে সহযোগিতা করেছে, তাদের সকলকে আমার তরফ থেকে ধন্যবাদ এবং এই অনুষ্ঠান সর্বাঙ্গীন সুন্দর হয়ে উঠতে পারে শুভকামনা করি।
Thank you, sir, for inspiring us, and on behalf of the college, you have both welcomed and expressed your gratitude for inspiring us really, and they are eminent in their fields. They have come from different universities, and we are really lucky to have them eminent in their fields as the speakers. They have come from this small college. You have tried to request Hatimul Islam, the president of Governing Body of this college, to come here and deliver few words to us, so that we, as usual, he is always inspiring to us. Again, we want to be inspired by him. Please.
আজকে ইংরেজি বিভাগের পক্ষ থেকে হরিয়ারপাড়া হাজি এখানে কলেজের সেমিনারে উপস্থিত সকলকে অভিনন্দন, শ্রদ্ধা, ভালোবাসা। আমার খুব ভালো লাগছে যে আজকে এই মঞ্চে শুধু বাংলাদেশ কুষ্টিয়া থেকে এসেছেন ডক্টর মিজানুর রহমান সাহেব, তার পরিচয় পেলে আমার আরো ভালো লাগলো। প্রেসিডেন্সি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের ইংরেজি বিভাগের অধ্যাপক ডক্টর মনিরুল ইসলাম, যার বাড়ি আমাদের মুর্শিদাবাদ জেলার ভগবানগোলায়, তিনি আমাদের জেলার ভূমি সন্তান। মুর্শিদাবাদ থেকে ভারতবর্ষের বাইরে অনেক শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠানের সঙ্গে তার যোগাযোগ তাকে যেমন সমৃদ্ধ করেছে আজকে ডিয়াসপোরা এডুকেশন কলেজকে ছাত্রছাত্রী শিক্ষক শিক্ষিকা আমরা যা করেছি। আমাদের কলেজের মাননীয় অধ্যক্ষ ডক্টর গৌতম ঘোষ, আমাদের কলেজের ক্রিসেস লোকেশ বাবু, আইপিসিমি কৃষ্ণেন্দু, সমস্ত অধ্যাপক অধ্যাপিকা, ছাত্রছাত্রী। আমি সাবজেক্টের একদম লোক নই, আমি শুনতে এসেছি এবং কিছু জানার জন্য সবসময় ইচ্ছা হয় এটা জানতে এসেছি। আমি একটা জিনিস সবসময় মনে করি, কোনো ক্রাইসিস নয়, কোনো সমস্যা হতে পারে না। সেই সমস্যাটাকে যদি আমরা মন থেকে হৃদয়ে দিয়ে উপলব্ধি করতে পারি এবং ভাবনা চিন্তার সঙ্গে যদি মেলবন্ধন ঘটাতে পারি, তাহলে সব সমস্যার সমাধান হতে পারে। উপলব্ধি করতে পারি সংস্কৃতি জগতে হোক, সাহিত্যে হোক, সমাজ জীবনে হোক, পরিবার জীবনে উপলব্ধি কিন্তু সেই ঘুরে ঘুরে একটা জায়গায় সমাধান হয়। যে পক্ষে আজকে আমরা এই সেমিনারটা করছি, যার নাম হচ্ছে ডক্টর রেজাল্ট করি মঞ্চটা বা এই প্রতিষ্ঠানটা আমরা উৎসর্গিত করা হয়েছে। তিনিও আর্টস কলেজে ইংরেজি বিভাগের অধ্যাপক ছিলেন। ভারতবর্ষের একজন প্রকৃত দশা সমন্বয় সাধন মানুষ, যার সঙ্গে রেজাল্ট করিয়ে ভাবনা চিন্তা সহমর্মিতা সম্প্রীতি আজকে মুর্শিদাবাদ রাজ্য নতুন করে তাকে আজকে ভাবনা চিন্তা রেজাল্ট করেছে। সেই রকম একটা সহমর্মিতা সম্প্রীতি ইংরেজি বিভাগে ওই এত নামা হয়ে থাকে পেয়ে আমরা ভীষণভাবে খুশি। আজকের আলোচনা আপনাদেরকে আমার মনে হয় সেই জায়গায় ওই এত নামা হয়ে থাকে পেয়ে ছোট্ট অনেক কোনো অনেক ছোট হয় আপনাদেরকে আমার মনে হয় ছোট মনে ছোট মানসিকতা না আমাদের ছোট থেকেই বড় হয়েছি। আজকে মনিয়ার করার ছোট সাহেবের স্বপ্ন সাধনা, এখানকার ছেলেমেয়েরা এখানকার মেয়েরা আজকে যদি মেয়েরা লেখাপড়া শিখতে না পারে, সাহেবের শিক্ষিত মা যদি তৈরি না হয়, শিক্ষিত মানুষ যদি তৈরি হবে না, সমাজ তৈরি হবে না। যদি ভারতবর্ষের মানুষের ভাবনা চিন্তার সঙ্গে কারণে একটা সাধারণ মানুষের সেটা আজকে আমাদের বলে গেছেন বলে আজকে আমাদের পক্ষে সম্ভব হয়েছে। এরকম দেশ দেশের মানুষদের কাছে আপনাদের করেছে আজকে আমরা নিয়ে আসতে পারছি। আমি আপনার মানুষ হিসাবে বলে আজকে আমি অভিনন্দন এবং শ্রদ্ধা জ্ঞাপন করি সেই সব মানুষের ভাবনা চিন্তা সংস্কৃতির কোনো রেখা বন্ধন হয় না। টাকার বেড়া দিয়ে যায় না। আপনি এখানে বসে যে কথাটা ভাবছেন, আমার নাম যেভাবে এখানে সামনে করছে ইংল্যান্ডে অনেকগুলি মাছ আপনি আমার রাজ্যের সঙ্গে অনেক মাঝে মাঝে মনে হয় যে পাখি তৈরি করে চলে যাও, কিন্তু মোটে অনেক সময় পড়ে থাকে এই মেলবন্ধনটা কিন্তু একটা প্রতিষ্ঠান শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠান এটাকে অবলম্বন করে আমরা যখন এগিয়ে চলি, আপনারা যে কথাটা বললাম একসঙ্গে ভাবনা চিন্তাকে মিলিত করে এই প্রতিষ্ঠানে দেখবেন ভাবনা চিন্তা এখন প্রেসিডেন্সি কলেজ বলে আমাদের মাথাটা চলে আসে। কয়েকদিন আগে প্রেসিডেন্সি কলেজে বলছিলাম এখানে একজন স্পেশাল ছিলেন, কয়েকদিন আগে কলেজ কমিশনার ছিলেন, এখানে একজন স্ট্রবেরি মিত্র ইতিহাসে আমাকে করেছে আমাকে ওখানকার ছেলেমেয়েরা বলছে ইতিহাস প্রকাশ করেছে ইতিহাস গ্রামের ইতিহাসে শুরু করুন না। আমি আস্তে আস্তে বললাম যে আপনাকে একদিন আরো মনোযোগ এই কলেজে আমাদেরকে খুবই ভালো লাগে।
We know that he is a man of mass media, and well reputed name to journalism of Krishna, always is inspiring to us, and today again we got inspiration from him. Now, today this seminar is on the topic Diaspora literature. Exclamation from today was the crisis of space and identity. I would like to request Professor Dr. Diaspora to present the speech. Before that, let us introduce him briefly. He did his training from Dhaka University in 1991. He received his PhD degree from Ranchi University, Jharkhand, in 2005. He joined Islamic University in 1996. After that, he went to Saudi Arabia. He joined the Department of English, Jahan University, Saudi Arabia, as an associate professor in Germany in 2009, and served there for 4 years. And returned to Islamic University. Again, he came back to this university, Islamic University, in 2012, and there he has been in service. Apart from publishing a large number of research papers and articles, he has authored many books. For example, there is a book, William Golding, Exploring the Uncountry, that was published in 2021 by Unique Publication. There are many other books. He has also authored books in Bengali. Let us mention few names. London Gospel, that was published 2 years ago from Sonolitto Prokashoni, Dhaka. Bathroom থেকে বাউল, Solera Prokashoni, that is also from Dhaka, 2022. There are many other books published by him, and now he is working on Bengali Diaspora literature and culture. We would like to request Professor Dr. Diaspora to enrich us with his very valuable speech on his topic, particularly obviously covering diaspora literature. Welcome. This session is being chaired by Dr. Krishna Mushi, who is the IPC coordinator and assistant professor of this college.
Today's decision is from me. Very of happiness for me personally, because I have been in such a college away from my homeland. So it's my pleasure to convey my heartfelt thanks to the authority of Haji Islamic College for inviting me to present the seminar on diaspora literature. I feel too much honored, too much respected that I, an alien here, have been given due respect and honor. It is also my pleasure to be in the midst of you, the learned people, the principal of the college, Dr. Gautam Kumar Ghosh. Today's program, seminar, international seminar, chaired by Dr. Krishnendu Munshi. Here is present Honorable President of the governing body of the college, our respected mass media personality, Hatem Islam, and especially it's my pleasure to be with Dr. Muhammad Badir Islam from President's College, Kolkata. And here is another one, research representative we call him. That is probably a different name. Dr. Purush Mondal, my acquaintance. I know him for almost 10 years. I have been in contact with him on several occasions. I welcome you all in the seminar. I am not going to introduce myself because Mr. Shamim has told a lot about me that I don't deserve. I am simply Professor Dr. Rahman from Bangladesh. Before reading the paper, today's paper, I would like to focus on certain aspects of diaspora literature. Actually, the word diaspora refers to a group of people who have migrated from their homeland to other countries. Actually, my diaspora means actually evicted people, rootless people, the uprooted people, the displaced people, the dislocated people, actually culturally dislocated people. So I believe that in today's literary world, the diaspora literature is dominating. So by diaspora literature we mean literature produced by the exiled people, the immigrants, those people who have migrated from their homeland to other countries. And this literature basically deals with identity crisis, cultural dislocation, displacement, uprootedness, and the violent pains and sufferings of the immigrants. Sometimes it's called expected literature, but there lies certain point of difference between immigrant and expected. So immigrant literature and expected literature, although used synonymously, are not the same thing. However, diaspora literature basically reflects on the transcultural dilemma and identity crisis of the migrated people. For example, a huge exodus of people have migrated from East Bengal to West Bengal in 1947. So they are physically detached from their motherland, but a strong way. A strong current of a feeling for the homeland is very much functional in the migrated people, the diaspora people. So now, when the migrated people from East Bengal to West Bengal producing literature. This literature is a diaspora literature. But in the present context, actually diaspora literature is treated in such a way that those people who have migrated from India or Bangladesh to England or USA or Canada. For example, you are Sumtalahedi, a second generation immigrant, because our father migrated to England and from England to America. So, Sumtalahedi is the second generation immigrant writer, and her writing is a diaspora writing. Chitra Banerjee Devagoni, she is the first generation immigrant in America, and her fictional works are diaspora literature, diaspora fiction. Then there is Sudhika Gupta, she migrated to England. She is also the first generation immigrant, and she is producing fiction from diasporic point of view. Then there is Bharati Mukherjee also, she is dead now, that's right. This Bharati Mukherjee is also a diaspora author. First she migrated to Canada, then from America. And all these personalities, all these migrated people, even from Bangladesh, you know, there are three major diaspora writers like Ali Khan, Monica Ali, and Tahmima Anam. So, the diasporic people have produced literature which is concerned with the depiction of the pains and sufferings of the immigrants, the pains of being culturally uprooted, culturally dislocated people. This is really the basics of diaspora literature. Although there are huge number of critical articles and books on the fictional works of the writers I have mentioned before you just some minutes ago. So I am going to present my paper on diaspora fiction. Actually, Sudhika Gupta is not as reputed as Sumtalahedi or Bharati Mukherjee or Olivia Karika, or maybe not like Chitra Banerjee. But Sudhika Gupta is a very, I would like to say that a very famous diaspora author, and she produced some notable diaspora fiction like Memories of Rain. This is the first diaspora fiction published in 1992. So I am going to present this paper, The Colonized Other in Sudhika Gupta's Memories of Rain, a critical study. Before going the paper, I would like to mention another thing. Actually, the protagonist of the novel is not an immigrant. She is an expatriate. There lies a very sharp difference between an expatriate and an immigrant. An immigrant is a migrated person who takes citizenship in another country and permanently settles there. But an expatriate only works there and doesn't become a citizen of the other country, and finally he or she returns. So this is the sharp difference between an expatriate and an immigrant. So from this point of view, actually
Memories of Rain is not an immigrant fiction. This is actually expatriate fiction. However, I'm starting my paper. Dr. Gupta's Memories of Rain, a stunning fictional work set in Calcutta and London, portrays its protagonist Moni, who being fascinated by the demi-paradisal image of England, read in English literary texts, falls in love with and marries an Englishman and migrates to England. They make their home in London, settled in England. Mother tries to create an identity of her own, but her husband's infidelity and indifference makes her return back to Calcutta after 10 years. This research paper aims at exploring how the protagonist Moni is treated as a colonized other in England by her husband in the course of the novel. Let me tell a single sentence. The colonized can never be treated as a person belonging to the mainstream colonial society. In the land of the colonizers, a colonized is always an other. The process of othering starts from the time of colonizing the land. So the protagonist of the novel, Moni, has never been treated as a woman, nothing more than an other, a colonized other. Not only colonized other, but also cultural other, even a sexual other. Dr. Gupta, a physician by profession, emerged as a Bengali diaspora author in the last decade of the 20th century with the publication of her debut novel, Memories of Rain, in 1992. Though a physician, she is mostly known for her fiction, which reflects the diaspora sensibility and post-colonial themes. As a Bengali-born British author, Gupta's fiction is deeply rooted in the depiction of Bengali characters who struggle hard to maintain Bengali culture and traditions and form their own identity in the country of immigration. Memories of Rain is narrated through flashbacks and a stream of consciousness technique moving between Calcutta and London, between passion of first love and pain of passionless marriage, between the familiar and the foreign, between happiness and despair. It claims widespread reputation as a Bengali diaspora fiction in which she has portrayed the life of a Bengali girl named Moni who migrates from Calcutta to London with her English husband. An in-depth study suggests that Memories of Rain is a complicated and difficult post-colonial novel about numerous facets of migration and diaspora, including displacement, acculturation, illustrating cultural hybridity through the protagonist marriage to a foreigner. Written in quite simply ravishing prose, Memories of Rain is full of emotional intensity and tempestuous feelings of the protagonist, Moni, who is finally deceived and returns back to her roots. The England she has read about in English literature doesn't match the real England. Her study of English literature creates a dreamy image of England which shatters after her migration there. Shuddhata Gupta considers herself a part of ancient Bengali diaspora, which constitutes a significant aspect of her novels. From her own statement, it is clear that the Bengali literary diaspora greatly influenced her personal life and writing career. Her literary foundation is, to a larger extent, indebted to Rabindranath Tagore. An analysis of her novels suggests that Bengali literary diaspora also forms the cultural identity of the Bengali characters portrayed in her novels. That she was exposed to literature and writing was conditioned by her appreciation of Tagore and his writing style. As one of the first generation diaspora writers, Shuddhata Gupta mainly focuses on the women immigrants' experience and longings in both the new country and the homeland. Her mode of treatment of the immigrant characters in her novels is unique in the sense that she examines their feelings of desire and attachment to the homeland. Set in Calcutta and London, Memories of Rain manipulates the theme of colonized otherness through the depiction of its protagonist Moni, who falls in love with an Englishman Anthony in a torrential rainstorm in 1978, marries him and migrates to England, of which she has formed a romantic image through which her study of English literary texts. Moni strongly desires to visit England since this country to her is land of dreams. In a longing, England is land of fantasy. It is particularly romantic because she believes everything she learned in class about England is true, and she sees London as a safe haven from the perilous poverty and misery of Calcutta. So Gupta narrates the rainstorm evening when for the first time Moni meets Anthony at their residence in Calcutta. The rain poured from the skies not to purify the earth, but to smite it, to turn the past fields into festering wounds, rains that shocked city stewards on the streets spin the pillows with the nausea of moon. Gupta seems to have presented herself in the character of Moni, since like Moni she migrated to and settled in England, although except migration and settlement in London, nothing of her life complies with that of the protagonist. She mainly deals with the trading of memory of Calcutta, that means homeland, and London, land of migration. Moni undergoes constant mental and emotional struggles between the culture and traditions of her homeland and attractions of the new land. It is evident that her English husband Anthony betrays her faith by falling in love with another English woman, Anna. At this point of her life, Moni starts feeling extremely alienated, displaced, rootless and nostalgic. Returning to Calcutta, she starts quest for her identity. While in London, she feels comforted in thinking of her life in her homeland. Pleasant memories of her past life in Calcutta give her a sense of satisfaction. Moni accommodates herself in the alien culture of London, but finally her hopes are futile and meaningless. She strongly longs for belongingness, which forms the code to search for her roots. Her marriage to Anthony is also aimed at belonging to English culture, which influences her academic career as a student of English literature. Moni has romantic thoughts about Englishness. In the course of the progress of the novel's plot, it is evident that her deep infatuation for England results from her study of English literature. But after Anthony brings her to England, Moni finds to her disappointment that this England doesn't coordinate the England of her creative ability shaped by the study of English writing. She takes her failure like any of her disillusioned literary women. She receives rude shock at the true image of England that entirely differs from her romanticized England. As a self-respecting woman, Moni suffers acute romantic ache because of betrayal of love and denial of her change of pride by her English husband Anthony, but she doesn't accept them as a curse. Rather, backpedaling to India gives her the strength of creating an identity of her own, which she desired to create through migration to England. So one reason of such strength in her might be that love to her is not a romantic feeling, but an instrument of getting rescued from a bizarre, wonderful land like India and migrating to her imaginary England to make her personal identity. A testimony to such an idea is supported by Gupta's narration, from which it is evidently seen that Moni had loved Heathcliff before she loved any man. But in reality, Moni's English husband Anthony is no Heathcliff. In compliance with Moni's dream and desire, Anthony doesn't wander like a lover with her, nor does he express his love romantically to her. Her fantasy, therefore, of wandering as a spirit with her beloved upon English modes remains unfulfilled and unrealized. Moni undergoes weak predicament in her quest of self-identity in London. She feels herself an alien in the new culture. This new culture in which she is dispersed from her Bengali roots provides her with no sense of belongingness. Moving across borders because of migration from Bengal, her new home in London becomes a more complex notion. This new home may be defined as a new location, and the very image of home changes with experience of decolonization. Here Moni knows only extreme estrangement and alienation. Home for her becomes a painful experience with Anthony. Her attachment to Bengali roots is her only home now. Memories of homeland are the only means of communication with Calcutta. Memories which connect her with her roots and her past, thus reducing the distance between the alien country and the homeland. The past incidents of the native land are recaptured through flashback technique. Memory, which acts as a kind of lens, helps to recapture the fragmented bits of the past. It is through nostalgia that Moni constructs an imagined world where the alienated, dislocated, transplanted, and rootless protagonist finds comfort in her recollection of the past experiences in Calcutta. As an immigrant in England, Moni feels alienated and isolated mainly because of the absence of her native culture, rituals, customs and traditions. This absence creates a mental state of imbalance in her, though such state is not exposed by her. Her diasporic sensibility changes with the change of time and place, as naturally as it happens to the first generation immigrants. One thing is important to know, that Moni is not an immigrant, she is an expatriate. But more important is that she migrates to England with her husband as an immigrant and brings uncared and disillusion. She returns to her roots. In the entire gamut of the story of the novel, Moni searches for her identity, but her homeland occupies a vital and dominant place in her life. Anthony doesn't suffer from sarcastic rootlessness since he's not culturally dislocated. He doesn't feel the acute agony of alienation and loneliness. He went to Calcutta to carry out research on Bengali theatre. Anthony therefore is not an immigrant or an expatriate. He is simply a traveler whose native land was once a colonial power ruling and dominating India for almost 200 years. Therefore, in terms of their ethnicity, roots and culture, they are from two different worlds. Moni's first shock and disappointment come to her from the very beginning of putting her feet in England. In Calcutta, she has led a secure life steeped in traditional Bengali culture and customs. But immediately after her arrival in London, she feels disappointed because of its too much cold weather, which is totally opposite of that in Calcutta. Dislocated from her roots, she starts feeling belonging nowhere in the alien culture of London and is caught up in clash of two different and opposite cultures. Their marriage becomes mired in the pain of infidelity and non-communication. Anthony betrays Moni. He now realizes that he was fascinated by her exotic beauty only. Probably a sense starts functioning in her that Anthony has exploited her as the previous British colonial power, and that he has thought of her as nothing more than a colonized other. She is an alien and other in England. So Moni's friend Shormila tells her of the truth of how deep a chasm prevails between the colonizer and the colonized. Moni's union with Anthony is symbolic representation of the split between the East and the West, between the colonizer and the colonized. Shormila reminds Moni of the feelings of sleeping with a white man whose mental makeup is totally different from the colonized other. What is it like to sleep with a white man? Moni's ideas about London as a demi-paradise collapses. She collapses following the picture of her English husband. The cultural collision that takes place between the two is regarding the difference of attitudes and values. She comes to England from such a bizarre country which still seems to be an exotic land to the English, who frequently ask if they will start burn their wives, bury alive their cruel children. Initially, Moni believes that Anthony has loved and rescued her from such a bizarre land, but gradually London exposes its real appearance. Her disillusionment with England reaches such a point from her she believes nothing can rescue her. London seems to be more than a quagmire. Her past life in Calcutta haunts her and she yearns for turning back there. On Oxford Street, washing a one crushed ice cream, comes to feed the pigeons. She is seized by an overwhelming desire to return to that world, although she knows it is there for her no longer. Lost in emotion for homeland, Moni intervenes the past and presents and concludes that she is a stranger in London. Undoubtedly, Moni fails to create her own identity in London because of her husband's betrayal and willing failure to understand her feelings. As a result, a deep faith develops in her that to begin a quest of her own identity, she must go back to her roots, to the lost place and the lost time. She still possesses an identity. She dives into her subconscious and tries to resurrect the roots of her present crisis as well as to resurrect her former self because it was crumbled and paralyzed by Anthony. By reconnecting the past, she aims to find a solution to her present. Anthony cares Anna more than Moni. Moni therefore is disgusted by her life with Anthony and decides to fast and bubble and live in devoting her life to charitable works for the poor, the diseased, the hungry. She can see herself clothed in full white, soothing a sick child, a new energies teaches her that is what she must do. It is clear to her now that she will spend the rest of her life with this mission in view. She departs from the dull, lonely, and alienated domestic life in England and makes a journey to construct a new world. In the new space, she will not feel that she is a colonized or cultural other. Gupta has used negotiations in the novels to convey the message that Moni was a culturally dislocated woman in England. Tagore's songs are in fact a source of inspiration as well as indications of Moni's anguish and dark thoughts. All her sufferings and pains are devoted to Tagore's songs which set the rhythm to her world. Her emotions and fantasies are to a large extent shaped by Tagore's works. Tagore is a religion for Moni. She fondly remembers the pilgrimage of her family to Tagore's house every year to commemorate his birthday. His songs provide her a magnificent and exaggerated metaphor for her adolescent pain, romanticism. After all, her illusions about imaginary England are gone. Moni comes back to reality of her life and decides to return back to Calcutta 7 years before Durga Puja, which is indicative of her love and fascination for the culture and traditions of Bengal. Gupta has drawn an analogy between Durga's return to Kailash and that of Moni from England. Every year, goddess Durga returns to Bengal in autumn from the Kailash mountain with blessings and love from her Hindu devotees. Her departure from Bengal every year is just a guarantee of her return the next year. Memories take Moni back to the time of every autumn when she was the entire Calcutta. The entire Calcutta city burst into joy and mirth to welcome Goddess Durga to her parents' home. She therefore comes to realize that, like Durga, she is a daughter of Bengal coming home. Her return to Calcutta is Moni's return to his spirituality of India, which she had rejected for several years with her husband in London. Undoubtedly, Moni has undergone several mental turmoil all life in England, but the mental imperative of being denied of the state reaction that one aches for in torment makes Moni's outcast intense. Feeling estranged and rootless in England, her illusions are gone and she returns to Calcutta. Moni articulates her new identity in the host country, but in doing this, she has been hybridized through her marriage to an English man. Moni's function implies that she is an avid reader of both Bengali and English literatures. Along with Tagore, she reads Shakespeare, Austen, Keats, and Hardy, which gives her an unusual image of England. Moni, in fact, fails to realize that her knowledge of England is just a colonial legacy, a colonial hangover. She has learned about England and its society through the text of the colonizers, who gave an image of themselves as superior to the colonized Indians. This is the colonial politics which Moni is unable to realize, since in her subconscious mind, England is a space where she longs all the time when she was second-year student of English. Her response is a positive one to Anthony's proposal of marriage, which she hopes to help her get to England. Anthony, in fact, appeals to her as her rescuer from a life under patriarchal dominance and middle-class typical values. England to her is a cultural and spiritual land, a fantasy in her adolescent romantic imagination, which finally appears deep like Eliot's unreal city. Even the man whom she loved and thought to be an ideal husband is an unreal and fake as the imagined London. His extramarital love affair with an English woman Anna gives her the final shock and dismay about Anthony and London, an unbearable event leading her to the final return to Calcutta. Moni thinks of Anthony to be a heroic figure, like Kirkley, with whom she dreams of wandering as a spirit like her beloved upon English shores, remains totally unfulfilled. With days past, Anthony's love for Anna grows intense, whereas it declines for Moni. He becomes indifferent towards her, resulting in her isolation from his life, from England and its culture that creates a desire in her to come back home. Moni has failed to view Anthony and England from post-colonial point of view because she has studied English literature from colonial perspective, not from colonial angle or post-colonial angle. Had she been able to view Anthony from post-colonial perspective, she should have taken an unreal view of the man. This is the lack that leads Moni to taking an illusory view of England and Anthony. So Anthony conquers and defeats Moni's identity because of her being a woman whose previous generations belong to British colonial power. The British colonial rule is no more in India, but the British colonizers still think of the Indians as colonized. Anthony is no exception in entertaining such colonial attitude to Moni. To him, Moni is still their colonized subject who has migrated to England for building her own identity at home. Her dream of making a new home in England finally fails. She is fragmented and completely fails to establish a new stabilized identity in the host country. Moni desperately wants to make London her home without realizing that she is just a colonized other in England. Therefore, she has to leave and return to Calcutta. All this she has loved, all this she will live. Gupta's memories of rain manipulates the unbreathable colonizer-colonized relationship, which reminds us of Kipling's concept of colonized otherness in his poem The Blood of the East and West, where he declares on the basis of practicality that East is East and West is West, and never the twin shall meet. The East-West divide is an inevitable reality. Since the relationship between Moni and Anthony is a relationship between the colonizer and the colonized, between the master and the slave, Moni is victimized by this unfathomable divide. Considering which Gupta seems to suggest that the marriage between Moni and Anthony is simply vulnerable and fragile. But in the colonial first, their relationship finally collapses. Of course, Moni's elder brothers prevented her from marrying Anthony because to them, Anthony seems to be a new colonizer whose purpose is to exploit their sister's emotion. Their attitude to Anthony as a colonizer is justified, as Gupta says in the novel, that Anthony had come to this land as his forefathers had done, with conviction that all he wanted would be his, as is anticipated by Moni's elder brothers. Anthony falls in love, wants to marry Moni because he wants her to unbelong either in Bengal or in England. In fact, Moni's elder brothers see in Anthony a colonizer who follows the steps of his forefathers. They consume of the colonial past of India and looks at Anthony from a very practical point of view. Gupta logically dissects this idea through Anthony's inability to leave this fortifying city without her, that it would be enough to cherish the beauty of their unconservative passion. Their call for not marrying the descendant of the British colonizers is an evidence that they desired colonization, but Moni's fascination for the seemingly paradisal England is an evidence of her colonial legacy without knowing that she is a colonized other to the English. Shunatte Gupta suggests that it is logical to see the colonial past in Anthony, the role of history and knowledge or experience indispensable. The elders and relatives are equipped with this underpinning pattern of historical knowledge and anti-colonial convictions, but their disgust to build upon and be activated in defense of the collective identity. Gupta considers Anthony a man representing the colonizer who sees Moni as an utterly vulnerable woman. He has never loved her, so he has never loved her. He has only loved his image of her, not the real woman. To Gupta, Anthony has been a disastrous figure who must long deeply to think of her existence and the years that had passed since she had lost that desire. Moni is a victim of Anthony's colonial lust and sensuality. To Anthony, Moni is not only a colonial and cultural other, but also a sexual other. So Moni's colonized identity is a fluid and hyphenated identity. Territorial and cultural border loses its existence. She constructs a vulnerable identity of her own in London, which collapses with once her elections have been shattered. Based on imagination, this vulnerable identity doesn't generate her a stable real home. Anthony, a true prototype of a colonizer, expressed Modi's emotions and romantic feelings only to testify that a colonizer cannot be a rescuer and that Modi is nothing more than a colonized other in England. This is the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Mizanur Rahman, for delivering a very good speech. Now I would like to request Dr. Krishnendu Munshi to say a few words about the speech.
The organizer has requested me to limit myself, and so I'm compelled to express few words here. Just sitting there in isolation, I could feel the temperament of a diaspora author. Thanks, Professor Dr. Mizanur Rahman. Mainly his speech builds around the dreams and desire of Modi, the protagonist of Sunetra Gupta's Diaspora fiction. Thanks again for drawing a vivid picture of agony of a woman immigrant. Thanks for coming here. Lots of gratitude on behalf of Haji College. Sir, please do come again to our institute.
There is a notification for the registered participants. The seminar kit that is given to you, in that kit you will find a feedback form. I request all of you to fill in the feedback form and submit to us. I request all. Now I would like to call on stage Dr. M.D. Monirul Islam. We know that he is an assistant professor at Presidency University, Kolkata. Dr. Monirul Islam has completed his graduation with honors in English literature in 2001 and MA in 2003 from the University of Kalyani. He was awarded PhD from the same university in 2016. He started his teaching career as an assistant professor at Ashannagar Madan Mohan Tarkalokar College, located in Nodia, in the year 2008, and subsequently moved to Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose College, Kolkata. He has also worked as a visiting faculty in the Department of English, University of Kalyani. He joined Presidency University in 2018. In his 10 years long teaching career, he has taught different genres of English literature. His basic interest, however, lies in teaching British Romantic poetry, critical theory, and Indian drama in English. Other areas of his interest are Elizabethan drama, 18th century prose, Oriental tales, Gothic novels, post-colonialism, and post-humanist theories. He wrote his doctoral dissertation on Eastern collections of the British Romantic poets. Of late, he has started exploring the implications of post-humanist discourses for post-colonial theories. He is also trying to locate the terms post-humanist tendencies in the discursive practices of the British Romantics. Another area of research he is interested in is travel and walkability, especially pilgrimage as a mode of travel and the ritual walk. Apart from being a member of British Association of Romantic Studies, he is the founder member of the Indian Post-Humanism Network. So we are very glad to have him as a speaker in this seminar. We request him again to come on the stage and enlighten us with his thoughtful lecture. Please, sir.
So, good afternoon everyone. So from a brief introduction provided by Shami, you can guess that I am perhaps not the right person to speak in this conference. Yeah, quite sure, because I don't specialize on diaspora literature. So my interest lies elsewhere. So basically I am a kind of misfit into this. So kind of misfit into this conference, but since I have been invited and since I have received the invitation, I have to talk on something. So I have decided on a topic. Okay, and this is the topic: that's reading diaspora literature at the time of the Anthropocene. Okay. So basically, I don't have a kind of thesis or something, but rather some ideas to share and some questions to raise regarding how we can study diaspora literature, especially with the awareness of this idea of the Anthropocene. Basically, I have been told that there are two groups of audience here. One who are sitting here, and the other group, they're online. And the two groups, might be very disparate in terms of, their reception of what is going on here. So keeping that in mind, I try, especially keeping the audience here in mind, I try to tone down my discussion, and sometimes I may take a Bangla. So excuse me for that, the organizers. I might sometimes take a Bangla. And then, try to be more, getting into storytelling than reading a kind of scholarly paper. But thank you, Professor Rahman, who has been very diligent in discussing what is diaspora literature, or what are the different dimensions or characteristics of diaspora literature. Okay. So just think of the terms that you heard when you heard of the diaspora literature. Okay? Terms like identity, terms like space, terms like transnationality, liminality, marginality, cultural hybridity. Okay, home and homelessness, rootlessness, exile. Okay, so if some of these words registered in your brain, then you can work on them later on. So these are the words that we have been hearing, and you see that basically when we talk about, or not just exclude the word, leave the word basically out. When we talk about diaspora literature, we talk about the human diaspora. I mean, how human groups have traveled from one place to another, especially transnational travel and migration. And how that migration, that experience of migration gets related in literature. মানে আমরা মানুষরা তো কোথাও এক জায়গায় আবদ্ধ থাকি চিরকাল, আমরা ট্রাভেল করছি সিন্স দ্য ভেরি বিগিনিং। সো এই যে আমরা সারা পৃথিবীতে ছড়িয়ে গেছি এবং আমাদের যে অভিজ্ঞতাটা হয়েছে, এই অভিজ্ঞতাটা যখন আমরা সাহিত্যে প্রকাশ করছি, বলছি, এটা নিয়ে লিখছি, তখন সেটা কি হয়ে যাচ্ছে? আমরা বলছি যে দিস ইজ দ্য কাইন্ড অফ থিং দ্যাট ইজ diaspora literature is concerned with, basically. So diasporic population, okay? So that is what we define as diasporic literature. Diaspora, the experience of the diaspora is something that is delineated in diasporic literature. Okay, I think this is clear. This is the basic, this is the beginning that Professor Rahman started with. Okay. Now, what I am going to talk about, this is a bit different. Rather, now I am questioning this definition of the diaspora. Okay, I am questioning this definition of the diaspora. কারণ তোমরা তো জানো যে পাখিরাও তো ট্রাভেল করে, হাজার হাজার মাইল উড়ে এসে অন্য দেশে যায়, তাই না? কোভিড-19 এর সময় আমরা দেখেছি যে প্যাথোজেন, একটা ভেরি স্মল প্যাথোজেন, how it has become a globe-trotter and affected people all over the globe. Maybe with the humans or maybe not with the humans. And also the fishes traveling miles, swimming miles of waterways. So, and then how, say, the human migration, when some groups of people travel to some land and settle there, that has a huge impact on the non-human forms of life. ধরো গাছপালা, জীবজন্তু, আমি আন্দামানে গিয়ে সেটেল করবো, আমি আন্দামানের গল্প বলবো একটু বাদে। তাহলে আন্দামানের জঙ্গল পরিষ্কার করে আমি ওখানে সেটেল করবো। তাহলে আন্দামানের জঙ্গল এবং সেখানে যে জন্তু জানোয়াররা থাকতো বা আন্দামানের যে আদিবাসীরা থাকতো, তাদের কি হয়? তাদের কি হল? তাহলে ডায়াসপোরিক যে পপুলেশন, ডায়াসপোরিক যে গ্রুপগুলো, তাদের কথা আমরা বলছি, কিন্তু তাদের গল্পের সঙ্গে অন্য একটা গল্প কানেক্টেড, অন্য একটা গল্প জুড়ে আছে। এই গল্পটা হলো যে অন্য ফর্মের যে জীবন, শুধু মানুষের জীবন না, হ্যাঁ, এবং মানুষের জীবন। যাই হোক, আমরা জানি যে আজকে কেপ টাউনের মতো একটা শহরকে খরার শহর ঘোষণা করা হচ্ছে। কেন? People cannot live there, so they have to, people living there, the humans living there, they have to migrate. Indonesia's capital Jakarta is going down under the water. So these climate issues, this issue of global warming, because of that, there will be, say, a new group of diasporic population. And this new group of diasporic population is directly linked to what we define as the Anthropocene. Okay, so basically, therefore, please try to use the other words. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say, primarily what I'm trying to say is that it is very difficult to study diaspora literature by using the same lens that we have been using perhaps before this, what we call the time of the Anthropocene. We need to rethink the lens, rethink the perspectives, rethink our critical perspective when we read diaspora literature. And that is where my today's discussion actually originates. Okay. So basically, I think before I go on, we already have quite familiarity with the word diaspora. Just a bit of what the word Anthropocene means. Can you go down to the next? These are two scientists. One is a chemist. The other one is a biologist. Okay, Paul Crutzen and Eugene Stover, who is credited with the coinage of the term Anthropocene. Anthropocene, the word that you can see there, Anthropocene is coined by combining two Greek words. One is the word anthropos, and the word anthropos means human, and the word sin, C-E-N-E, means actually new. So when we use the word Anthropocene, it comes to signify the new era of the human. The new era of the human. Now, you know, in geology or in geological time scale is different from the human's historical time scale. আমরা যে ইতিহাস পড়ি সেই ইতিহাসের যে যুগ ভাগ আর জিওলজির যে যুগ ভাগ দুটো কিন্তু ভীষণভাবে আলাদা। Millions of years in geological time makes up a particular age. So the geological time that we inhabit now is called the Holocene era. Okay, the Holocene era. But now, Paul Crutzen, Stover, and many others, a collective of scientists and other international organizations, they have said that perhaps we are not perhaps now. It has become a fact now, accepted fact now. We are no longer in the era of the Holocene. We are perhaps living in the era of the Anthropocene, the era of the human. So what do we mean when we use this phrase, the era of the human, or the time of the Anthropocene? Basically, we mean that humans have become a geological force. Humans have become a geological force. So, the planetary system, the Earth system, that is getting transformed due to human intervention. So we all are now familiar with the words global warming or climate change. We all are familiar with words like carbon footprint of the humans. So these are the words that reveal to us that, say, we as humans, or human as a species, we have affected the geological system, the planetary system. Therefore, we humans have become a geological agency. And to define this new geological agency of the human and the impact of the humans on the planet, there is this term Anthropocene now getting coined. So Anthropocene is the era of the human. We are living in that era. So how to read, my question as I posed it, how to read diaspora literature or diasporic literature in the age of the Anthropocene. So it might sound a bit obtuse to the uninitiated, a bit difficult thing, but I'm trying to pitch in as light engagements. So don't mind I sound a bit abstract. Okay. Now, what has happened as a result of this? You see, the history of the earth, it's something that is studied by the geologist or by the scientist or by the physical scientist. And history that we read as a part of humanities, it basically reads the human history. And when Professor Rahman was talking about the diaspora, he was talking about in terms of this human history. And there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, there is nothing wrong with that. But what has happened in the Anthropocene, this human history and what you might call the natural history. The natural history. The distinction between the two is actually lost when it comes to the time of the Anthropocene. Human becomes a geological force. That means, this human history is merging with the planetary history. This human history is merging with physical history of the planet. So what physical sciences study or geology study, this becomes very much a part of the humanities as well. Or, what humanities have been doing, studying the human history, that becomes very much part of the geologist case as well. Because both of them now come together. Okay? And that is where I am trying to pitch my point. That when the humanist history and the geological history come together, then how we should read the history of the diasporas, or how we should read diasporic literature that documents the migration and the experience of migration of diasporic literature. Okay? So now we are more concerned with our common, what Bruno Latour, one of the theories that I have in the back of my mind, what Bruno Latour calls our common geo-story. So we as human species are very much related to the other species living on this planet, and not only the other species living on this planet, other forms of life, but also to the matter, the planet itself. Isn't it? Because we have changed the atmosphere. Okay? So how to read literature in general, and diasporic literature at the time of the Anthropocene. That is what I am trying to think. Okay? And obviously, if I can develop a dialogue, a conversation with whoever is listening, then I think I can take this idea forward. Now to do this, Professor Munshi, can you go down a bit? I have two texts in mind. If I go on speaking without any literary text, with a literary example, the case might not get consolidated. So I have two authors. You can see the pictures of them here. One is Pankaj Seksaria, who is my friend, who works at IIT Mumbai. He is somebody who has been working on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands for over 25 years. And on the other side, most of you know perhaps, the other person is Amitabh Ghosh, very famous writer of the Diaspora, part of the Indian Diaspora. Can you just go down? And I have chosen two novels. One is The Hungry Tide by Amitabh Ghosh, and the next one is, can you just go down? Yeah, the Last Story by Pankaj Seksaria. Now let me just 10 minutes. Okay. So let me just tell you the stories. Then I'll rather request you to think on your own. And I'm basically thinking of the audience sitting here in this room. Okay. The Hungry Tide. The Hungry Tide, many of you might have read, especially teachers over here, is a novel that concerns two kinds of diaspora. You can see the female protagonist of the novel, if you call PR the protagonist, PRD. She is a Bengali diaspora. She lives in the US, and she comes down to the Sundarbans to research on the dolphins. The Gangetic dolphin. And the Gangetic dolphin, as you know, is an endangered species. Okay. There's another group of diasporic population, and another group of diasporic people, And these are post-partition refugees. A group of people who has been uprooted from their home in Bangladesh in the aftermath of the partition, and they have migrated to India. Okay? And as you know, most of you know the history of the migration of basically lower class Hindus from Bangladesh in the aftermath of the partition and their suffering. And it has been documented in various forms. Now, these people were sent to the Dandakaranya, as you know, by the Indian government, but they couldn't survive there because of the difference in climate. Bengal, the climate of Bangladesh or Bengal, for the matter, is largely different from the climate of Dandakaranya. So they came back and they settled down in one of the islands of the Sundarbans, the Morichapi Island. And most of you might be familiar with the Morichapi incident, which is famous or infamous, you can say, whatever way you put it. Now, what happened to this group of people? That they settled down in an area that was part of the Tiger Reserve Forest, Sundarban Tiger Reserve Forest. Okay, so the government wanted these people to leave that land, leave that area, because that was part of the reserve forest. But those people were not ready to leave. So there was a conflict, and many of the people, and this is an incident that happened in the 1980s. Jyoti Basu was the Prime Minister, Chief Minister at that point of time. So many of these migrants were killed, and they were dispersed from that place. Now, one of the migrants in that novel, you hear her voice. She is a lady, a woman whose name is Kusum. Okay, and Kusum. This is just a moment, when these settlers from the other parts of the border, from Bangladesh, they are, facing this onslaught from the government, or part of the government. Now, Kusum has a question to ask, and this is something I would like to concentrate on. Now, see, Kusum says, the she said, why people are pigs. The worst part was not the hunger and thirst. It was to shift their necklace and listen to the policeman making their announcement, hearing him say that our lives, our existence was not less than dirt and dust. And if you go down a bit, then she talks about that there are some people who think that the life of a tiger is more valuable than the life of a human. So who are those people? Kusum cannot understand that why suddenly saving the life of a tiger has become so important. Why not saving the life of a human? Okay. And Kusum says, we are trying to do what humans have been doing for so long, clearing land, fishing and doing such and such things. Okay. So Kusum cannot understand that what is the problem. She is baffled at why they are saying that this is the tiger reserve forest and you can live there. Okay. But you see, obviously Kusum has a point that she is living as human beings have been living for so long. But Kusum's bafflement also reveals the fact that we are, also baffled with the awareness when we think that we humans have become a geological agency and preserving the forest and preserving the tiger becomes equally important as preserving the human life. Okay? So two very important things here happening. One is, you see, Kusum's problem, that how as humans I can be displaced. I'm already displaced because of the partition, because of human politics. And now I am getting displaced because some people are attaching more value to the tiger than to me as a human. There is one problem. And she, as I said, as a marginal human, she has a part. But at the same time, when we think of the Anthropocene and when we think that how the humans clearing the forest, okay, how the humans exploiting the earth as a whole, how it has led to the present saving the forest, or saving the non-human forms of life is important not only to save the non-human lives but also to save the human lives, because the climate catastrophe, is in a sense will bring about not only the end to the non-human forms of life but also to the human, can bring the human to the state of extinction as well. So we have to. So therefore, you see, when you study Kusum's case, or Kusum as belonging to a group of diaspora, we cannot study her story now merely in terms of, say, the civilizational politics, merely in terms of the human history, because now the human history gets entangled with, gets caught up with the natural history. Okay. So this is one of the examples that I am using. The second example that I am using is Pankaj Sexenia's novel, The Last One. Now the last one is set in the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands. And you all know that the Andaman and Nicobar Islands were originally inhabited by some tribes. Civilized humans were not there. Ongis, Jaruas, Centenaries, etc., etc. Some tribes actually lived there. And it was full of, say, jungle and non-human forms of life thrived there. Now the topography of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands started changing after 1857, after the mutiny. All of you are familiar with Sipahi Bindu. So after that, those who rebelled against the British, for them, Andaman was set up as a penal colony. So those who rebelled against the British, they were banished to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And then, as you know, later on the cellular jail, the infamous cellular jail was set up. So this was the starting point where, say, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands becoming a kind of settler island, where people from outside started settling in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now I just want to mention one point here, that Pankaj Sexenia technically is not a diasporic writer. He is not a diasporic writer, he is not a part of the diaspora. But the novel actually concerns the diasporic people. So that's why I have included, because if you read the history of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, you will see that those people are diasporic people. The original inhabitants of that island were the tribes, and very few of them live now. Most of the tribal people have gone extinct. Now the point is, after a few years of the establishment of the cellular jails, the convicts from the cellular jails were released and they were given some lands. So there was huge land was cleared and human settlement was made. Now, the novel narrates that how this increasing human settlement, and this increasing human settlement, once again, the partition of India had a lot to contribute. After partition, many post-partition refugees were sent to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And refugees from Myanmar, after the ethnic conflict, refugees from Sri Lanka and other countries of South Asia actually gathered in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So basically the diasporic population, the diasporic groups, that constitute the present population of the Andaman is called the Nicobarese, not the original inhabitants of the island. Now Shakespeare shows that how with the settlement of these people, there is a conflict developing between the original tribal population, okay, and its settlers. And it also in a sense between, say, the non-human forms of life, the world of nature on the one hand and humans on the other. And in the novel, what you get to see is that the tribal population, especially the novel is centered on the Jaravas, the Java tribe of the island, they are going extinct and they are losing their, say, livelihood because of the clearing of forest by the settlers. So, with the depletion of the forest resources, what is happening? Their livelihood is engendered. They lose their traditional way of living, and they started coming out of the forest. And many of you might be familiar with the Andaman Trunk Road, if any of you have visited, that runs to the what we call the Java Reserve Forest. That is also remains of focus of the novel. Now the issue is what you see also in the novel is that primarily it shows how the tribes, how the tribal people and the non-human forms of life are endangered due to the settling of these migrant groups in the island. But at the end of the novel, you are made to realize that it is not only the original tribes, but it is not only the forest along with the non-human forms of life that faces the danger of extinction, but the settler groups also faces similar kind of threat, similar kind of danger. And this in the form of climate catastrophe. In fact, both the novels, if you look at the ending of the novel, both the novel ends with a natural disaster. In case of Amitabh versus the Hungry Tide, there is a huge cyclonic storm, and at the end of Pankaj Sixaria's novel, there is a tsunami. That tsunami which all of you we have actually experienced a few years back. Okay, so the tsunami or the cyclonic storm, it threatens not only the non-human forms of life, but also the humans living there. And if you look at the discourse of the novel, or if you think in general, then what is the answer to this climate catastrophe? What is the answer to this threat to the human as well as to the non-human forms of life from the climate catastrophe? The answer is obviously to live and let live. You cannot live by clearing land. You cannot occupy the forest reserve area. You cannot clear the Java reserve forest and create habitat for living. Because those natural growths or that natural population, I don't mean human population by this, but non-human forms of population, that becomes the protection for the humans. Okay? So both for the humans and as well as for the non-human forms of life, what becomes important is to learn to live together. When we talk about living together, we mainly talk in terms of living together with our fellow humans. But the Anthropocene has made it very clear that it is time that we learn to, live with the non-human forms of life, and that is perhaps the need of the hour. If, as humans, human is a species that we are to survive on this planet. So what, you see, I have been trying to shape, and just in a minute I am going to end this. What I am going to say that, trying to say is that when we are thinking of the diaspora literature or literature in general, but when we are trying to read human stories, now we need to read those human stories with a new inflection, with a new awareness that this human story is not or cannot be read in separation from or disconnection from the other forms of life, or in a sense the planetary system as a whole. So what I am trying to say is that, as in case of other literature, other literary forms, and this is being done now, we need to perhaps adopt a kind of post-anthropocentric lens. Post-anthropocentric lens that exceeds anthropocentrism. We are anthropocentric as humans. We are human-centric. So we have been talking about Eurocentrism, racism, etc., but perhaps it is also time to talk about human-centrism or anthropocentrism. Human-centrism is not a good word. Anthropocentrism and speciesism when you talk about literature, when you talk about, in fact, diaspora literature. So thank you for being patient. I know I have been a torture on you. Thank you. Thank you. You see, there are multiple such movies have made with the post-anthropocentric lens, not only one. Because the thing is that, the scientists and the, say, scholars come in later. It is the writers, filmmakers, or creative artists and their imagination. They have been imagining things much before, the scientists or the scholars did. Okay, so we as scholars, we are following the footsteps of the creative artist. Okay, so cinema and literature have been trying to adopt a kind of post-anthropocentric lens for long, and especially after 2002, when this word Anthropocene got a kind of wide circulation after the Nobel laureate scientist called Krugman, came up with it, popularized it in a sense. There have been several films and there have been multiple literary texts that have been actually trying to deal with this issue. And if you think of Momita Ghosh's later writings, I mean, just think of what he wrote after the Irish trilogy. I mean, think of his text, Great Derangement, or think of the Gun Island, or multiple other such texts written by Momita Ghosh. You see this, how he's trying to adopt a lens that questions the traditional humanist perspective and arguing for a more relational, relative, symbiotic approach to life. Okay? So thank you.
Thanks to Dr. M.D. Munirul Islam. Obviously, we have got a new perspective, new theoretical perspective, Anthropocene. That was, honestly speaking, that was quite unknown to me. I heard the term, but he defined it, he discussed it, and with some literary examples also, he made it very clear to us, I hope. Now I would like to request Dr. Krishnanda Munshi again to brief, to share his opinions and views on Dr. Islam's speech.
What should I say? An round of applause should be there for him. A small information, we are from the same alma mater, Arts Presidency College, now in Presidency University. My heartfelt gratitude for that man, and he made us see the life through anthropocentric lens. Actually, diaspora literature is something different kind of form of literature, and just he explained the term Anthropocene, which is the powerful effect of human activity on global environment. We can see that, we can say that, and we have heard so gentle and kind expression from him, and the introduction that he was misfit to the theme, and we have heard him and we realize how deep knowledge he possesses on the theme, and we have just come through the livelihood and issues of settler and aborigines. With the permission of Dr. Islam, can I use the term aborigine? The livelihood and the issues, and rather get matched the gap of environment and human. Rather champion the term of living together. Which is the demand of the hour. Now, thanks a lot on behalf of Haji Ekikan College. Now, an interactive session will be there, and I would like to, you may ask any question to both of our honorable speakers on the theme they have explained. Please feel free to express. Have you any question on the theme? They are speechless, really speechless. Actually, it's a new form of literature. We are not so much acquainted with terms and the state and status of this form of literature. So I think the audience is quite silent. Still, we are hoping. What's the question? Yeah, one.
I have a question to Dr. Munirul Islam sir. Sir has discussed the issues of diaspora in different aspects with the concept of Anthropocene, like human history with or a human living with the entity of others in the nature. So my question is a bit different. That said, with the advancement of technology, the generation from we belong, just before the students we are right now teaching, that we have seen the changes in our social surrounding. I want to say like that, we had field, we had some natural surrounding with us, but the technological advancement, or we can say the globally যে advancement আসছে, তো তার ফলে যে আমাদের যে একটা alienation, যে আমরা রিলেট করতে পারছি না, যে যার মধ্যে দিয়ে আমরা বড় হয়েছি, সেখান থেকে আজকের জেনারেশনের যে বড় হওয়া সেটা অনেকটা আলাদা। তো সেই যে এলিয়েনেশনের যে একটা ফিলিংসটা, সেটাকেও কি আমরা একটা ডায়াসপোরিক ফিলিংস বলতে পারি, যে আগের জেনারেশনে আমরা যেভাবে বড় হলাম উইদাউট দ্য অ্যাডভান্সমেন্ট অফ টেকনোলজি, আই ক্যান সে দ্য এক্সাম্পল অফ মোবাইল, internet. So age alienation or the feelings of our nostalgia, that can it fall also a feeling of diaspora? So my question is.
হ্যাঁ, আমি আপনার কোশ্চেনটা একটু অন্যদিকে যাবে ভাবছিলাম। তো যাই বলা যাচ্ছে এটাকে ডায়াসপোরা বলা যাবে কিনা, এটা বোধহয় আমি স্যারকে বলতে পারি। এটাকে ডায়াসপোরা এটাকে বলা যাবে কিনা, কিন্তু আই হ্যাভ অলসো সামথিং টু শেয়ার, সামথিং টু আনসার। বাট আমি স্যারকে বলতে বলি কারণ আমি নিজে মানে আই এম নট এজ এ সেড আ স্কলার অফ ডায়াসপোরা লিটারেচার, এবং টেকনিক্যালি হোয়াট ইজ ডায়াসপোরা and what kind of feeling can be defined as diasporic feeling, what sense of rootlessness can be called diasporic. That is something I would request Professor Rahman to talk about. Then I'll say something in response to the answer. Question, sorry.
Dr. Mundu's has actually raised the question of whether this is diaspora or not. Certainly this is also diaspora, because the people who have migrated to the Pundarban region and the part of India, they are from, most of them migrated from Bangladesh, from East Bengal. So actually that is diaspora. But mainly diaspora বলতে আমরা একেবারে সোজা বাংলায় যেটা বুঝি, যে সমস্ত প্রথম জেনারেশনের মানুষ, দ্বিতীয় জেনারেশনের মানুষ যারা বাংলাদেশ, ভারত অর্থাৎ তার নিজ দেশ থেকে ভিন দেশে মাইগ্রেট করেছে, চলে গেছে, গিয়ে ওখানে সেটেল হয়েছে, জীবন ধারণ করছে, লেখালেখি করছে, সেই লেখাগুলি হচ্ছে ডায়াসপোরা লিটারেচার। তো বাংলাদেশ থেকে যারা 47 এখানে চলে এসেছে, 71 এর পরে চলে এসেছে, 91 এর পরে চলে এসেছে, যারা সুন্দরবনে মাইগ্রেট করেছে।
Sir, she has pointed out whether advancement of technology should be termed as diaspora.
So the diaspora literature is not.
ও আসলে যেটা বলতে চাইছে যে এই with the technological development there is a sense of rootlessness with people who earlier had more connectedness to the world of nature because they used to roam about in the fields, maybe in the midst of nature, etc. But with too much attachment to gadgets, for that matter, too much attachment to gadgets, we are losing that connection, we are getting alienated. So whether this sense of alienation can be defined as a kind of in terms of the diasporic sense of rootlessness. So that is something she's trying to talk about.
No, this is not diaspora sensibility. Diaspora sensibility means the sensibility of the migrated people and of themselves. Virtually, we are too much attached to technology in this, and that's why we are getting alienated from each other, from our family, from our friends, or from the relatives. This is not actually diaspora sensibility. Diaspora sensibility is concerned with exile. maybe post-exile or willing exile, self-exile. It also be compared to exile from his motherland, from his homeland to other countries. And whatever might be the reason of migration, that is material. What is material most is that there must be exile, uprootedness, dislocation, cultural dislocation. Culturally must be dislocated. Even the second generation, third generation immigrants are also of the same kind of people, because their condition is more dangerous than the first generation immigrants, because the first generation immigrants have more attachment and feelings for their homeland. But the second generation immigrants have neither sense of belongingness to the homeland nor to the country. So, for diaspora literature, exile is a must. That is, migration is a must. So, yes, but technologically we are advancing, and because of that we are getting alienated. This is not diaspora literature. This is not diasporic sensibility at all.
Okay, so
Sir, pardon sir, can we say acculturation?
Acculturation, yes.
Acculturation is a critical feature of diasporic literature.
Certainly. Because when a man migrates from one culture to another culture, that means an alien culture, the question of assimilation, the question of acculturation is must. A man migrating from one culture to another culture, from one land to another land, from one country to another country, must try to assimilate the alien culture to be in step with the host culture. He or she must try to acculturate to the new culture. Someone fails, someone succeeds. Those who fails are expatriates. They return back. Those who have succeeded in acculturation, in assimilation, in accommodating, adapting the new culture, they retain there, they sustain there, and they become the citizens, and they become immigrants. Those who fail to acculturate themselves, those who fail to assimilate the new culture, they return back to their home, they are expatriates. This is the difference between expatriate and immigrant. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Advancement of technology leads to a sense of acculturation also.
No, just to not to trouble you any further and trouble the people sitting here, because I heard that they are waiting for their lunch. Yes, but just add to whatever has been said so far. You see, a sense of, and if you feel that you are more at home when it comes, say you are living in a city, and when you go back to your village, you feel more at home. So you long for that, you have a nostalgia for that. So, see, this also, in a metaphoric sense, becomes, say, a diaspora sensibility, in the metaphoric sense of God. Similarly, I mean, if you have similar sense of dislocation, similar sense of disconnection, when it comes to the fact that this dislocation or disconnection is due to, say, some intervention of new technologies, you can, in a metaphoric sense, so calling it, kind of alienation, or equating it with the alienation of the diaspora, perhaps will not be the right thing to do, but the connection that you are making when it comes to this sense of alienation, this sense of loss, and you're feeling that loss. Maybe we need new lends new terminologies to define that sense of loss. But I very much agree with you when you talk about this sense of loss when it comes to, more attachment to gadgets and, feeling alienated. See, getting attached to gadgets also has its own pleasure. It's not only painful, but it's also pleasure. So you are getting attached to it because you are deriving some kind of pleasure out of it. So you are forgetting, perhaps intentionally, isn't it? To a good extent as well. But it's a. But as I see, basically I walk with these issues, as with the non-human life forms, also with technologies. So technology obviously, in a sense, alienated, as you generally say. But technology also has connected people together. You also have to think of that. If it has alienated, there is also a connecting dimension of technology. The younger generation might be, more agreeable to this than we who were, more critical of this attachment to the gadgets. Okay? So, thank you.
Actually, diaspora, if a man has to be a diaspora, it means crossing the border. There must be crossing the border.
There must be territorial displacement.
Yes, crossing the border. Without crossing the border, there is no diaspora. For example, a man has migrated from Bihar to UP. This is not diaspora. If a man has migrated from West Bengal to Bangladesh, that has crossed the border, this is diaspora.
Transnational.
Okay?
Diaspora can be internal,
Internally.
nation or international.
Sorry, there should be a tinge of melancholy. In the diasporic literature, there should be a tinge of melancholy, I think.
I have a question, sir.
That is something Professor had talked about a lot in his
Monirul sir,
please.
I have a question.
Please go on, please.
Okay, first of all, I congratulate the organizers of this college and obviously the eminent speakers of this particular seminar. Now, my first question is that, from the perspective of post-colonial lens, diasporic people are seen as, or can be seen as, subaltern people. But in your case, the example you have given regarding Andaman, these subaltern people went to Andaman, they actually...
That's it. You're very interesting. I mean, I use a term anthropo-colonialism or anthropo-colonial. So you see that. So what I said that even if you want to understand the history of colonialism, the post-colonial theory is not enough to do it. You need to have this, understanding, or you need to have after the first, global traffic started. I mean, or when the advent of European colonialism in South Asia, with that the colonization of the Andamans actually started. Now, what you see that what the British did, they created the Andaman as a kind of penal colony and they sent the convicts there. And after their years of conviction was over, they were given some land and they were get to settle there. So it was basically a colonial policy to colonize the island. And the Andaman was considered to be a kind of threat because many pirates actually occupied the islands and attacked the British ships. So they wanted to control and contain that place as well. Now what happens after the independence, this policy adopted for colonization by the British is continued by the Indian government. If you look at the first 5-year plan, second 5-year plan of the Indian government, you will see that they continue this policy of clearing land and bringing more and more people to the island. Okay, Now, that is one part of, I think, what we are trying to ask. The other thing is, these settlers of the island, you see, they're basically, as I said, most of them are post-colonial refugees, post-partition refugees who settled on the island. They are marginal groups. They are uprooted from their home and they are searching for physical home, not a psychological rootlessness that they have. They are physically rootless. They need a home of their own to live. And they settle down there. But what happens? They become a form of colonial agency. They become a form of colonial agency in relation to, as you have said, the native inhabitants of the island, and in relation to also the non-human forms of life. Now you see, when humans have been a colonizing agency since the beginning of civilization, because we have been colonizing nature, isn't it? Colonizing the planet as a whole. We have been, and this process of, or rather, this framework of this, say, the way we think about the planet as in a dualist way, that it is the other, nature is something that we need to dominate, exercise our dominance over. This is typically, European Enlightenment humanist, comes from European Enlightenment humanist philosophy. So the anthropos, if you think of the human but being a kind of colonial agency on earth. Okay? So basically, in the case of Andamans and these humans settling there, they're colonizing force, they're becoming a colonizing agency. Undoubtedly, they are a colonizing agency. But there is a difference between the European colonizers who came and settled in different countries all over the world, and these settlers, isn't it? So that is something we have to keep in mind as well. Thank you.
Is there any question? No. What is there? Please.
Hello. He is just receiving a call on your mobile phone. So please wait for a minute. Please wait for a minute.
Your question should be to Manadu sir only, because Raman sir has left. Okay, you can.
So my question is Dr. Manadu sir. First of all, sir, I would like to thank you for this new perspective that diaspora can really be a matter of concern in the time of Anthropocene. I am also working on Anthropocene. I am a scholar. So my question is that you to lead to further our generation, we are continuously exploiting nature, we are clearing lands, etc., etc., leading to planetary crises like climate change, destruction of ecosystem. But sir, on the other hand, there is this continuous increasement of population, overpopulation of human beings. So if this overpopulation of human beings are going on, then we must establish our home on land. But on the other hand, the land is not increasing, whereas the human population is increasing. So how to cope up with this problem? And another question is, can the artificial establishment of natural park, natural scenarios like Disneyland Park, can it really be a solution for this post-anthropocentrism perspective?
Okay, so very interesting points actually. You have to do this now. That is what they have instructed you. Okay. So basically, two questions. One is this issue of overpopulation and how that is disproportionate with the land that we have, the earth that we have, and how the humans are becoming kind of burden on earth, isn't it? So, See, the post-anthropocentric philosophers, they also talk about this issue of overpopulation. So obviously, population control is one of the measures the post-anthropocentric philosophers would suggest. Now, the interesting thing is, you see, the earth. There are a group of theories, especially if you think of James Lovelock, and James Lovelock is the propagator of the Gaia hypothesis. Gaia, and the idea of Gaia's rivers. Gaia is the earth, the planet. Now, they feel that the whole earth is a living organism. The earth is a living organism that contains within it other living organisms. And the earth knows how to keep, how to live, and how to keep it livable. So they talk about that if humans are, human population is increasing, if humans are intervening in the natural processes more than what they should, then there will be a kind of revenge on part of Gaia. So that is what a group of post-anthropocentric philosophers believe in. Secondly, you have been talking about creating artificial atmosphere. Now see, when it comes to this problem that humans becoming a force, geological force and changing the planetary system, affecting the planet and leading us to a kind of climate catastrophe, there are different responses to it. Okay, there are different responses to it. And all group who are basically known as transhumanists, this group of philosophers, they think that, okay, if we don't have, say, resources to live on from nature, then we will artificially create resources. So if we don't have oxygen, we'll create oxygen artificially. We'll make the earth livable with the help of science and technology. Okay, so there is this odd response to this. But whether it is at all possible to create, say, an artificial condition which will help life and thrive on Earth, that's a huge question. Number two is, when it comes to this, science and technology is never free of politics. It is never free of politics. You can predict the scientific outcome perhaps after a few failures, but predicting politics is very difficult. And when it comes to science and politics, there is a huge role played by money, huge role played by the capitalist. So even if say the scientist comes up with a kind of artificial atmosphere where humans can survive, whether all humans will get a chance to live in that artificially generated area, that is a huge question. Okay? So there are multiple issues involved here. But this has been on Elon Musk would say, for that matter, you have heard of Elon Musk. He would say that we will migrate to the Mars. Or we will create a space station where we will create a habitat. So they are thinking, so this is a new kind of diaspora that is being thought of. This will be inter-planet diaspora, not inter-nation or international diaspora. So in the Anthropocene, we are thinking of this interplanetary, say diasporic move. So colonizing the planet, another planet, colonizing the moon is a project that many of the say, where the people are working on. They're seriously working on it. Okay, so this will be my say, a short response to your question. Thank you.
I think both the speakers are satisfied. Considering response or their got all the answers. Is there any question from you? Now we can proceed to lunch.
So we request all of you to have lunch. Now we are announcing lunch break. Requesting again to fill in the feedback form that is provided in your seminar kit and please return it to us. After lunch break, we will have presentation of papers by the interested participants.
The session is open.